Good morning, students. Oh, is it morning? No, it is good evening then. So, so I'll wait for a couple of more minutes for all of you to join. By then, I want all of you to have this material. So if you have the material, so today we are going to discuss from chapter number 4, that is from page number 108. So I want everybody to open your page number 108 and sit. So as I said, we are going to talk about chapter number 4, and chapter number 4 is going to have around 50 questions. So are we going to discuss entire 50 questions? 50 questions in 50 minutes is not going to happen again. So we are going to divide it into two pieces, and two pieces. First piece we'll be discussing today, and the second piece we'll be discussing some other day. All right. And the fourth chapter is one of the most easiest chapter, I may say, in all these 5 chapters what we have. The first easiest chapter is chapter number 2, and the next easiest chapter is chapter number 4. So most of the contents of 4 chapters you already know. You already know most of the contents of 4 chapters, so it is going to be easy. You will be able to relate it in a better way. All right. So there are people who are joining in. So yes. So I hope you all have the material. I'm repeating again. Everybody open page number 108. All right. Okay. So the first question for us is e-commerce. Write short notes on the concept of e-commerce. So this is the very first questions we have. And about this, see, to begin with, I want to clarify certain aspects to you. Now, what do you mean by e-commerce? So e-commerce means it is electronic commerce. Now, what do you mean by electronic commerce? I use electronics, I use technology to do commerce. So what is commerce? Commerce basically means buying and selling. It could be buying and selling of goods, or it could be buying and selling of services. Could you give me some examples of e-commerce? Can you think of some examples of e-commerce? For example, it could be Amazon. For example, it could be Flipkart, where I'm actually purchasing the goods. It could be OLX. It could be Quicker, where I'm purchasing and selling second-hand goods. It could be Netflix. It could be Amazon Prime. It could be Hotstar, where instead of goods, what am I doing? I'm actually subscribing for it, and I'm able to watch the videos. So everything comes under the definition of what e-commerce is. So first question they're asking is write a short note on the concept of e-commerce. But before I explain you what e-commerce is, let me ask you a question and you need to answer this. Okay, I may not be able to hear you, but you can drop in the comment box what your answer is, or else if you can just think in your mind what the answer is. So the question is, now it is a lockdown situation, so I am at my home, my client is at their home. So my client cannot come to my office. So what my client do is he says what is his requirement by writing an email to me. So he is emailing, and whatever his requirement is, I am again emailing to my staffs, and my staffs are doing that work, and after completing, they're again emailing back to me. Now tell me, is it e-commerce? Is it e-commerce? The question is, if I use emails or if I use WhatsApp to do something, does it become e-commerce? Think. The answer is it is not e-commerce. Sir, you said it is electronic commerce. If it has to be electronic commerce, you said you need to use technology, and we are using the technology, but still it is not e-commerce, because e-commerce, it has to have necessarily technology. You need to use technology. Now, in this case also, am I not using technology? I'm using email. Isn't email a technology? Answer is yes, email is a technology. But work is not happening with the help of internet. Work I am doing without the help of internet. Only for the communication purpose I'm using internet. So e-commerce is different from e-communication. Okay, so transacting through emails is nothing but e-communication, not e-commerce. All right, so that is the one thing students confuse themselves with. So the definition says e-commerce is the process of doing business electronically. Is a process of doing business electronically, not communicating electronically. So in Amazon, what happens? You actually select the goods electronically, you order the goods electronically, you pay electronically. So everything happens with the help of electronic. Everything happens with the help of technology. That is where I call it as e-commerce. I hope this distinction is very, very clear to you. All right. Then it refers to the use of technology to enhance the processing of commercial transaction between a company. So I use technology. So what are the technology I use? So there is a mobile phone in my hand, then there is a computer server, then there is the application, then there is internet. So there are a lot of technology what we use about this. We are going to discuss in detail. So that is the first question. Later part, what you can read it, very simple explanation what they're giving. So write a brief note on e-commerce. If they give this, usually comes for 4 marks, and you have to write all the points what is given in the material. Okay. So that is what first question was. So in e-commerce, basically I can have two types of transaction. Basically, not necessarily. One is B2B transaction, one is B2C transaction. Now, what is B2B transaction? B2B transaction means one business is doing transaction with another business entity. For example, Alibaba. Have you heard of a website called as Alibaba? Again, it is just like Amazon, but in Amazon, what do? We purchase one mobile phone, one earphone, one power bank. But whenever you're purchasing from Alibaba, that is a Chinese-based website, you cannot purchase one single item. What you have to do is you have to purchase in bulk. For example, let us say you are purchasing 10,000 chair from China. So as a normal consumer, do you want 10,000 chair? Where will you keep it? You can't keep it. So only another business will purchase from another business. This type of transaction is called as B2B. So even B2B businesses are possible with the help of e-commerce. And B2C. B2C is basically as a consumer you are purchasing. Okay, so this is called as B2C. Amazon is an example of both B2B as well as B2C. If you go and check Amazon website, there is a separate website for Amazon business. As a business consumer, sorry, as a business customer, I can order products, or as a normal consumer also, I can order products. Okay, so I hope you are clear with what is the difference between B2B transactions and what is B2C transactions. So normally how it happens, first you place an order, then you make the payment, then the goods are dispatched, then you receive the goods, then you give the feedback. So this is normally how e-commerce transaction is. Let's go to question number 2. The first question is very basic question. Normally if it comes for 4 marks. Normally it doesn't come. It's not a very important question number 1, but even if it comes, it will come for 4 marks, not more than that. Second question is very interesting one, an exam oriented question. Question is, what are the benefits of e-commerce? What are the benefits of e-commerce? Now, before you directly write the answer, you need to structure your answer in such a way that you need to tell the advantages are many. First, you need to tell what are the advantages for the consumers. Then, what are the advantages for the business? What are the advantages for the government? You need to categorize your answer into minimum 3 parts. So, for as a consumer, what are the advantages? The first advantage is convenience. Again, very general point. How it is convenient to you? You can sit at your home. Then you can, you can sit at your home, in an AC environment, at your convenience. You can go through all the products and you can order whatever you want. It is very convenient. Everything at your fingertip. Next is time saving. So you don't have to spend hours together. So the e-commerce websites offer you functionality in which you can compare the products. You can select 4-5 products, then the website itself will compare and it will tell which is good for you. So it is again time saving for you. Next is various options. So if you're purchasing from a traditional shop which is next to your home, you have to purchase what is there in the shop. You cannot say what you want. But in e-commerce transaction, the choices are unlimited. Okay, then easy to find reviews. So this is what we do normally. So what do we do? Let us say I want to purchase a earphone and I don't know which earphone is good. So what do? I go to Amazon, I go to Flipkart, then I'll select the product. And the first thing, even before looking at the features, I come and I see the reviews. If the reviews are only above 4 and above, I'll order the product. If it is lesser than that, I will not order the product. So these are all the advantages for the consumers. Okay, this is the first party. Sorry, this is the first part. Second part is, what is the benefit of the business? Benefit is, the first one is increased consumer base. Increased consumer base simply means earlier days, traditional store. There is a shop in one village, there is a shop in one city. So the consumers are people from that particular city, people from that particular village. But when it comes to e-commerce, the consumers are not just limited to your particular city, particular village. The consumers are spread across the country, across the globe. So you will find large number of consumers. Next one is instant transaction. What is instant transaction? Now, imagine you are a shopkeeper in a traditional store. Some customer comes from morning to evening. He'll be just roaming in your store. He will be asking, show that dress, show that sari, show this dress. And again, he will find only 2, 3 dress at the end. Then he will say, I did not bring my pets. I'll get my parents. I'll get my brother or sister. All these things, simply a headache for the shopkeeper. But in e-commerce, what happens? The consumer will see whatever the product he wants, then only after he makes the payment, you will start shipping that product to him. So the transactions are very instant. Now, next one is easier entry into new markets. Very simple point. Now, normally, let us say you want to start one shop, so you need to find one good place which is center of the city. You need to make all these what do you say, interiors of that particular shop. You need to spend a huge amount on interior designing. Then you need to have hire more and more staffs. All these things complicated. But in e-commerce, you don't even have to have anything. You just have to have one warehouse. You dump all your products, and you have to have a good website. The moment customer comes and places an order, what you have to do is just pick that product and ship it to the customer. So you don't have to have a huge amount of money. You don't have to have a huge amount of money. So you can have an easier entry into the market. With the limited funds, you can enter into the market and start selling your goods. Next is better quality of goods. Now, in internet, one thing you need to understand is all the products are standardized. Now, when I say standardized, I refer to let me give an example. Like, for example, I can sell one mobile phone, one charger, one earphone. So the products are standardized. If it cannot be standardized, I cannot sell it. All right. Now, for example, let us say I want to if I have to tell how it is standardized. For example, let us talk about online classes. Now the product is standardized. I will say EIS classes, 5 chapters. I am going to sell it to you. So this product is standardized. I have to tell you how many hours it is going to take, all those things. So as a customer, it is easy for you, and as a seller also, it is easier for me to sell the product. Next, the last one is the benefits to the government. Now there are 2 benefits what we write. The first benefit is it is instrument to fight corruptions. Now, how it is an instrument to fight the corruption? Very simple thing. Let us think about traditional store. In traditional store, what happens? Let us say you purchase some furniture. Now, at the time of billing, the shopkeeper may ask, do you want GST invoice or do you don't want a GST invoice? If you want a GST invoice, the price is going to be 10,000 rupees. But if you don't want an invoice, you don't want a GST bill, then I'm going to give it for 8,000 rupees. Correct? So now what happens? The government is losing the revenue. So the shopkeeper, if he's giving without GST bill, then he is not going to pay the same amount to the government. So government is losing the revenue. But when it is e-commerce, everything is transparent. So they cannot say, I'm going to give a GST bill or no GST bill. Every transaction is accounted. Because of digital payment, all the money will go to his account and he has to report it to the government. So government is going to collect more taxes. Next one is they're talking from an environment point of view. Now let us say you have a traditional store. If you want to market your products, what are you going to do? You are going to put big banners. Okay, so these banners, cutouts, hoarding, everything at the end of the day, it is going to impact the environment. Lot of plastics what you're going to use. But if it is e-commerce, how are you going to advertise your products? Everything will be done digitally. There will be advertisement in Instagram. Every time you open a website, there will be advertisement. Every time you open a YouTube, there will be advertisement. With this, there is less environmental damage. All right. So that is with question number 2. Now let us go to question number 3. Now, what is question number 3? Differentiate between traditional commerce and e-commerce. This is a very easier aspect, which I am not going to explain, which you can understand by reading. So basically, they're talking about what is the difference between a traditional store, that is, the physical store, and electronic store. That is, what is the difference between a normal shop, the clothing shop, what you have next to your home, and what is the difference between Myntra. So that is the difference what you have. Very simple point. You can read and you can understand it. Now the fourth question is write short note on the concept of m-commerce. Now whenever they refer to M, they are referring to mobile commerce. Now is e-commerce and m-commerce different? That is the first question most of my students ask. See, what do you mean by mobile? Now, mobile does not refer to your mobile phone. Mobile basically refers to portable. Now, what is portable? Portable means you can take from one place to another. Now, tell me what are the devices that you can take from one place to another? It could be your mobile phones, or it could be your iPad, or it could be your laptop. So, all these things you can take from one place to another. Now, why this is such a big issue? That there has to be a very question on that. See, in olden days, internet was a very complicated subject. So they said, you need to have a physical connection. You need to, subscribe to BSNL. Then BSNL will give a broadband. That broadband network, you have to connect it to your computer. Then you're supposed to use it. So earlier days, the concept of internet was that only if you have a physical line, you can use the internet. But with the advancement of technology, you don't want physical line. You don't want physical line to physical line to use a internet. You can use Wi-Fi, you can use 4G, 3G, 5G, everything you can use to access internet. So they are talking about, they are talking about, um, people doing commerce people doing business with the help of their mobile phone. So e-commerce means using internet to do commerce. M-commerce means you're using mobile phone to do the commerce. Does it mean that you're not using internet? Answer is no. You're still using internet, but in the portable devices. All right. So that is about M-commerce. So the answer lies very simple. It says M-commerce is the buying and selling of goods through wireless handheld devices such as mobile telephone and personal digital assistants. So they're talking about something like iPad, or they're talking about laptops. So then all the points remain same, just like e-commerce. Okay. So that is a answer. So there is one question by Kanan Gautam, sir. How do you take notes while studying EIS subject? So notes is available to you. I hope the notes is available in the description box itself. If it is not available, if in the case it is not available in the description box, then you have to go to there is an app by Indigo Learn that is called as OneFin, and in that app you need to find these notes, and the note starts from page number 108. Is that okay, Kanan? Okay. So now let us go to question number 5. These are the questions which are important and which I want to discuss with you. What are the components of e-commerce? It is an exam oriented question. So put 2-star mark next to this particular question. In examination, they will ask this type of question. What are the components? That is, let us say that after you guys complete your CA and you don't want to get into practice, you don't want to get into employment, but you decide, let me start one e-commerce company, and you want to sell furnitures online. So what are the things you want to do a e-commerce business? So there are different components. Okay, now first thing is there has to be a user. Now who is a user? User is nothing but customer. So customer could buy goods or customer could buy services. Example of customer buying goods: if you're starting a furniture store, there has to be a user, a customer who will purchase furniture from you. If you're using Netflix, you are the user. Okay, next is there has to be a vendor. Vendor is nothing but seller. Now can you think of some e-commerce vendors? Classic example could be Amazon or Flipkart. Okay, so there has to be vendors. So there has to be users, then there has to be vendors. If you want to start a business of furniture, then you are the vendor. Okay, next thing is what you want. You have to use technology. Now, what are the different technologies that we use? Here they have given in brief. In a 3 line, they have mentioned what are the different technologies we use. But there is a separate question on what are the different technologies we use. So we will discuss about technology aspects slightly later. But you have to use technology. So technology, a brief description could be: you have to have servers. You have to use computers, you have to use servers, you have to use databases, you have to use mobile applications. About all these things we will discuss slightly after 1-2 questions. We will discuss about this. Next thing important, that is you have to have a internet. You have to have internet. So without internet, e-commerce is not possible. So you also have to have internet. Next thing is you have to have a web portal. Now what is web portal? Web portal basically means, now let us say you go to amazon.com, or you go to amazon.in, or you go to flipkart.com. What is the first thing that you see in your website? So that is called as web portal. So they need to have a web portal where all the goods are described. There has to be a catalog of the goods. features of the goods, price of the goods, all other details of the goods. So they need to have a web portal. Basically, web portal means user interface, how user is going to access that particular website. So if you want to start a furniture retail, furniture e-business, then you need to have a website of yours. This website should be accessible by using your, you started your furniture store, and now let us say I am a consumer and I want to purchase one chair from your website. How am I going to do that? I'm going to come to your website. So there is a web portal, and I'm going to select one furniture. Then I will say I want this particular furniture. I put my address, but you say before I send my goods, you have to pay. So I will say, okay, I'm going to pay, but how am I going to pay? How are you going to collect the money? So you use as a seller, you have a payment gateway. So payment gateway means it is a third party service provider who will collect money from me. He'll collect money from me, then he will give it to you. These things you might have seen whenever you are ordering some goods or services. So in the payment gateway, you enter what? You enter your car details, you enter your CVV number, you enter its expiration, you enter OTP, everything is done. So money will get deducted. Money will not directly come to you. First, money will go to the payment gateway. From there, the money will come to you. So I hope you are clear with this payment gateway concept as well. So if you want to start a furniture store, what are the things you require? What are the components you require? You want a user, me. I also have to have a vendor, that is you. Then you are supposed to use technology. Then you're supposed to have internet. Then you're supposed to have a web portal, that is a website where products are displayed. Then you also have to have a tie-up or agreement or contract with a payment gateway who will collect money from me and will give it to you. All right, so there are a couple of questions. Can we learn only those questions from exam point of view? That is by Priyanka. Yes. First thing is you need to study all these questions. From fourth chapter, I have given around 50 questions. First thing is complete 50 questions. First, complete this material. Only after you complete your material, if there is time, then you go back to study material. Or else you have to study first from this material. Don't go to study materials directly. Next question is by Kumar sir. Amazon, the seller or middleman between user and seller. Now, see, Amazon has two things. One is sometimes they only directly sell goods to you. They only have their brand of Amazon itself. Sometimes they act as a middleman. There is a seller who will register himself with Amazon, and the seller will directly sell it to customer using Amazon. But Amazon also have their own retail store, or Amazon also have their own line of goods, not retail store. Then, so this chapter is applicable for information technology, IPCC old syllabus. I'd suggest, see, there are a lot of difference. There is a lot of difference between old syllabus and the new syllabus. This class is only for the new syllabus. Old syllabus, you can watch it because some concepts are similar. All right. So now, I hope that is with the questions. Before I take the next question, let us go to the next question. That is, explain the role of e-commerce vendors in promoting e-commerce or e-business. So what e-commerce vendor, as a seller, what are the things that you need to take care of? What is your role in the e-commerce business? The first role is you need to do supply chain management. Now, what is the supply chain management? As a vendor, it is your responsibility to see to it that goods from your place reach my place. That is called as supply chain management. Now, let us say that in your website, in your furniture website, you have shown that you will give sofa. Okay. But let us say you don't really have sofa with you, but simply you have shown a catalog of a picture of sofa. As a customer, I will place order for that particular sofa. Now, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to contact a supplier who will manufacture that sofa. You need to get that sofa. Then you need to deliver that sofa to me. All these things should happen within the date what is promised by you. Let us say you promise 4 days delivery. Within these 4 days, you need to ensure that the goods, the sofa reaches to me. So this is called a supply chain management. You cannot say I will give after 1 month. If you do that, then I will never purchase from your website the next time. So supply chain management, how are you going to do? First thing is, as a furniture seller, you need to have tie-ups with the different furniture manufacturers. Now, these furniture manufacturers should have enough money with them so that they should be able to give you enough credit facility. For example, let us say that as a customer, I give cash on delivery. Okay, so cash on delivery means only after I receive the product, I'll give you the cash. So for the cash to reach it to you, let us say it is going to take 1 week of time. So your suppliers also should be willing to wait for 7 days. If they say, if you don't give money, I cannot give the product to you, then you won't be able to sustain in the market. So you need to be very, very careful when you're choosing your suppliers as well. So suppliers they need to be financially good, they need to be operationally safe, they need to give the good quality furnitures, good quality sofa to you, all these things that you need to consider. Your success or failure of your website is based on your suppliers and your ability to manage your supply chain. Then one more thing is suppliers real time stock you should be able to see. Now, normally, so there was one guy who said, whether Amazon sells directly, and I said it is not always Amazon sells directly. Sometimes there are other sellers who have registered themselves with Amazon. Then Amazon sells to you. Now, let us say that you want to purchase a mobile phone. Now, Amazon is not selling this mobile phone. Let us say there is some ABC. There is a company called as ABC, and they are selling the mobile phone. Now, when you go to the website, always Amazon will say whether it is in stock or whether it is not in stock. How it is possible? It is possible only if that ABC company is constantly updating Amazon whether about that mobile phone, whether they have stock or not. If they don't do that, then Amazon will say the stock is available, you place the order, then it is not delivered to you. As a customer, you are disappointed with Amazon. So to avoid all these things, you need to manage your supply chain. All right. So that is the first point. Next one is warehouse operations. Now, what is this warehouse operation? Now, let us say that you as a furniture seller, you have some furnitures with you and some furnitures you don't have. Now, let us as a customer, I'm ordering some furniture which is there with you. So where is that furniture? That furniture is there in the warehouse. Now that warehouse may be at a very remote place. Okay, your corporate office may be at some other place, your warehouse may be at a remote place. So you need to manage your warehouse operations. As and when some order is received in your corporate office, you need to call people from warehouse to arrange for that particular product. So they will pack and keep that particular product. After they pack, what happens? That is the next one. That is the next item, that is shipment. So once the people from warehouse pack it, then that particular products are shipped to the customers. Once it is shipped to the customer, if the customer likes it, customer will keep it. If the customer does not like it, then what the customer will do? Customer will return the product. So as a e-commerce vendor, you also need to ensure that shipping and return logistics are put in place. Now, some websites give this return policies. For example, Amazon has return policy, Flipkart has return policy, Mintra, clothing website, became popular because of their return policies. Okay, so one is e-commerce catalog and product display. Now, as a customer, for you to purchase, you will only purchase from those websites which prepares a better product catalog. For example, your Swiggy and Zomato. Now, only some hotels take a very good picture of the item what they cook, that biryani, the whatever, the salads or different items what they put, what they cook, they have a better catalog of that particular product. The photo is so good that when you look at that, only as a customer you want to order that product. So it is a responsibility of the seller that he prepares a better product catalog in the sense all this clothing website. So they will not just show some clothes randomly to you. They will ensure that some model comes and wears that product, so that as a customer you can imagine how would it look on you. All those things is a responsibility of the seller. And product display, it has to be shown in a certain manner where there has to be the features, what is written about the product, price should be written, all those things should be there. So all these things should be taken care by the supplier. Okay, so there are no additional questions. So let us go to question number 7. So this is what I was talking about. Question number 7 talks about what are the items covered in the technology infrastructure in e-commerce. So now they are talking about technology. I said e-commerce is all about technology. So what are the different technologies that we are using? So that is the question. Okay. So when I'm talking about technologies, there are different components. The first component is computer servers and database. Now, what do you mean by server? So most of the time, students think that server is something very complicated. As a common student, we will not understand it. But answer is very simple. Server means a specialized computer for a particular purpose. I repeat, server means a specialized computer for a particular purpose. Then it becomes server. Let me give an example to you. Say there are 10 people in one room. There are 10 people in one room, and everybody have their laptop with them. Everybody has laptop with them. Now everybody wants to watch a movie. Everybody wants to watch a movie. So what they can do, they can download this movie. All the 10 people will download this movie in their respective computers. So one particular movie is being downloaded 10 times. Okay, let us say one movie, which movie? Let us say Avengers. Okay, Avengers they want to watch. So 10 times they have to download it. Rather than doing that, can they purchase one computer? Can they purchase one computer specifically for downloading? Specifically for downloading, and in that computer they will download, and all the data is there in that computer, and all the rest 10 computers will copy paste that data from that one computer. Okay, so how many times did you download that movie? Only once. And where did you store that data? You stored in one computer, and all the rest of the computers access those data from that one computer. So the computer in which you downloaded that movie is something called a server. Now, why are you calling it as server? This computer is serving the other computers. How? By providing the data. So this is called as data server. So server is a easier concept. What is a server? Server is a computer for a specific purpose. All right. So if you want to start your furniture business, first thing what you want as a technology, you want to have servers. So servers, you can use it for various purposes. Let us not discuss about it. Very, very complicated technical it will become. So you need to have computers. You need to have lot of computers. You need to have lot of servers. Then you need to have database. Okay. Now, why do you have to have a database? Slightly we will discuss in the third point. That is while we are discussing digital library. So second thing, what you want is mobile application. So you need to find a software developer. You need to ask him to develop a mobile application. These days, every websites have their applications. Okay, for example, Amazon has their web application, Flipkart has their application, Netflix application, Prime Videos application. Indigo Learn, we also have an application called as OneFin. Okay, so it is the responsibility of the vendor to take care of applications as well. So even this is the technology what we want. Next one is digital library. Now, what is digital library? Now, digital library, so what is library? Basically, what comes to your mind when I say the word library? Library, you will feel this is a place where a lot of books are kept. Okay, this is the traditional definition of what library is. But digital library means a place where different types of data are kept. For example, let us say I am Netflix. So at one place, I have all the movies, series, shows, everything. It is there in one particular place. I call this place as digital library. Now let us say I am SoundCloud. Okay, I am SoundCloud or Savan. So what is there in my digital library? All the songs are there in my digital library. Now on the other hand, let us say I am Amazon Kindle. So what is there in my library? All the ebooks, all the digital books are there in my library. Now let us say I am Flipkart. What is there in my library? In my library, all the details of the products, the catalogs, the photos are there in my library. So this is called as digital library. So if you're a furniture vendor, if you're selling furniture, what should be there in your digital libraries? All the photos of the furniture should be there in your digital library. Am I clear about that particular point? Next is you need to keep in mind something called as data interchange. Now, what do you mean by data interchange? Simple thing. See, data interchange means a protocol. What is this protocol? I'll tell you. Now, did it ever happen to you? That you clicked on one link? Okay, you clicked on one link, but instead, so let us say you wanted to download one movie, but you did not get that movie in Netflix, you did not give it in Prime Videos, you did not get anywhere, not in YouTube. So you search for some movie and you get free movies, and they'll show you some link, and you click on that link. Instead of it taking to that particular website, it is taking you to random, 10 different tabs are opening, and all those things happen. Did it happen with you? Now, if it happened, then you call it as this is spam. Okay, understood by you, and you should give me the same thing. Okay, so this is called as protocol. So if you go to hotel, and let us say that you also go with your friend who is a diabetic patient who cannot have sugar, who cannot consume sugar. So if your friend orders, I want a sugarless coffee, the server should understand the same thing. The chef also should understand the same thing, and he should give you a sugarless coffee. So this is something we call as data interchange. How data is exchanged between consumer with the vendor. It has to be properly defined. For example, let us say You said your furniture will cost 10,000 rupees. One sofa costs 10,000 rupees. As a customer, when I'm clicking pay now, and I click that link called as pay now, how much should be deducted from my account? 10,000 rupees or 1 lakh? Answer is only 10,000 rupees. So when I select pay 10,000 rupees, you also should receive only 10,000 rupees. That is what supplier, as a seller, you should give me that particular movie. So this is called as data interchange. Okay. So if you want to retain the customer, you need to understand what customer wants. Only that thing you need to give it to me. Okay. This has to be properly defined. So these are the technological components. What are those? A quick revision. One is you need to have a lot of computers, you need to have a lot of servers, you need to have database. Okay. The next one is you need to have mobile application. Next is you need to have digital library. Next is there has to be proper data interchange. The communication between the user and the system should happen in a smoother way. Now, is there any question? There is Ashwant. The topic what is going on is chapter number 4, that is e-commerce. Okay, so now we are going for question number 8. The question number 8 in chapter number 4, that is page number. What is the page number? Page number is 112. Read the question. What is the question? Briefly describe. They're asking briefly, don't write stories. Briefly describe the workflow in e-commerce. So how does the e-commerce transaction happens? You think about it. How does it happen? First thing is there is customer login. As a customer, what do? You first go to the website. They will ask you to log in. So you use your email ID or mobile number and password and you log into the website. That is the step number 1. What is the next step? That is you select the product. Product selection is the step number 2. What is the third step? After selecting the product, you're going to add it to your cart and you're going to place the order. How are you going to place the order? That is by paying. How are you going to pay? We discussed by using a payment gateway. By using a payment gateway, you are going to pay the amount. Next, what happens? Once the payment is successful, the next step is dispatching. So they are packing that product from their warehouse, then they're going to hand it over to the shipping company. Now, after that, what is going to happen? As a customer, if they say it will take 4 more days for them to deliver the product, as a customer, they will give you a product ID or a tracking ID, and you will use that tracking ID to track that product. Where is that product? Whether it is dispatched, whether it reached your town, all those things you will track with using that tracking ID. Next is there is something called as COD tracking. The COD tracking is not for you. COD means cash on delivery. COD is not for you. That is for the seller. Earlier days, when they started, when the e-commerce was at the beginning, lot of frauds used to happen in this particular cash on delivery. What they used to do, the delivery guys would come. They would come and deliver the product. They would deliver the product, take the cash. They would take the cash, but not give it to the vendor. They would simply say, customer did not pay. Okay. So to avoid all these things, now they have a particular feature to track cash on delivery, whether cash is actually paid or not. All these things the seller can track. So this is how the workflow of e-commerce happens. So normal e-commerce transaction happens in this way. Very simple question, very general question. Okay. So we are done with question till number 8. Now let us go to question number 9. Now the question number 9, again, a very easy question. Question is, what are the policy areas to be defined in e-commerce? Now, what do you mean by policy? Now, what do you mean by policy? First, you see, the word policy is used in this particular subject in many places. So here only, let me tell you what basically a policy is. Policy means a written statement. A written statement. Now, who writes it? Whether the junior management or whether the senior management. Senior management writes about the policies. Now, why do they write it? So that it is applicable throughout their branches. Okay, let me give a very simple example. Say you go and you purchase some item from your nearby store and you take that product home, and after taking it to your home, let us say you purchase some clothing material for your brother or sister, and your sister, you took it home, but your brother or sister did not like that particular product. The question is, can you return it to the shop? Can you return it to the shop? Now you will take that particular cloth item, then you will say, this shirt, my brother did not like this shirt, I want to return it. Now what the shopkeeper will say? He will say, If I sell goods once, then I'm not going to refund the money. I'm not going to accept the return. Now you will say, you did not tell me earlier. Shopkeeper will say, you did not ask me earlier. How can I, how? And I don't even feel it is important to tell you. So there is a fight between the customer and the seller for no reason. So that is where, when it comes to e-commerce, customers and sellers do not even see each other. So what seller wants to sell or what seller wants to say should be written clearly in the policy. So for everything, there has to be policy. For example, we will discuss all about this one by one. First one is, before I discuss, I want to give some examples. Refund policy. Now, as a seller, Amazon will clearly tell the refund policies. On some items, there is a refund. On some items, there is no refund. On some item, there is exchange. On some items, there is no exchange. Okay, so all these things, first it has to be written properly. So as a consumer, I should not blame the seller later. Okay, so that is policy. So what are the different areas they are supposed to have policies? First one is, there has to be billing policy. Now, what do you mean by billing policy? As a senior management, I need to tell how bill has to be raised. What are the contents? What should be the format? Whenever you go to the website should clearly tell. The website should clearly tell whether this product has warranty or whether this product has warranty. So now, if the senior management does not decide to give warranty or guarantee, even that has to be written. Okay, or else what will happen? You purchase some item, next day it is spoiled, you want to return it, they will say, we are not going to take it back, we are not going to repair it. Even if we want us to repair, we will charge something extra. So all this thing, again, the relation between the consumer and the seller will spoil. To avoid this, there has to be proper policy for all these items. Shipping policy. Okay, so how uh, example, now shipping policy, in the sense, what is the mode of shipping, how packing has to be done, all these things also should be written properly by the vendor. So if you purchase from certain websites, their packing is very well. If you're purchasing from Amazon, or if you purchase something from Myntra, particularly if you're purchasing from Flipkart, particularly, their packing is very nice. But on the other hand, if you're purchasing from some website, for example, you're purchasing from Shop Clothes, it is a headache by itself. Okay, so I'm not promoting a brand, I'm not bad mouthing another brand, I'm just saying out of my personal experiences. So all these things are the outcome of the senior management's written statements. Something is delivery policy. Delivery policy means, as a seller, I commit to you, I promise within how many days I'm going to deliver the item. So even that thing has to be shown in the website itself. So some website, they will say, if you are a prime customer, they will say, we will deliver in 2 days. If you are not, within how many days customer has to opt for return. All these things also should be written in advance. Then payment policies. Payment policies also should be very clearly written, that what are the payment, what we accept, whether cash on delivery is possible, whether cash on delivery is not possible. All these things should be written first. Why should be written first? Because in order to avoid confusion and conflict in the later stage. All right. So that is with question number 9. Okay, so there is a question about, as an auditor, how do you check transactions in e-commerce? That is example in Flipkart. Okay, so all this, how and what is the responsibility of auditor? How auditor checks all these things? This is a part of third chapter. Okay, so in third chapter we will discuss all about this. So fourth chapter, basically it is about e-commerce. So we will stick to here. But Anjana Devi, we will talk about this when we are talking about chapter number 3. Okay. Okay. Now let us go to question number 10. Okay, shall we? Okay. So question number 10. Explain the term network architecture. Then what do you mean by client server technology? Now, here, we are discussing something little technical, not too much technical, very technical. That is, what do you mean by network architecture? Okay. So now, before I go answering this, is very simple, very gentle. Tell me, how have you used torrent till now? Torrent. Have you heard the name at least, torrent? If yes, write it in the comment box. I want to see how many of the students have used torrent till now. Have you used torrent till now, or have you heard the word torrent till now? Torrents, BitTorrents, Lime torrents. Okay. So now, what happens in torrent? Now, torrent Simply, now let us say basically when people use torrent is if they wanted to download a movie, if they wanted to download a game, which is not available in the internet for free version, what do? They do is they go for this torrent to download this movie, download this game, download that book, all these things they use torrent. So in torrent, what happens is it is peer to peer. What is peer to peer? Peer to peer means, let us say I have my laptop with me, and in this laptop there is a movie I have already downloaded from some other source. Now that the movie is in my laptop. Now I want to share it with somebody else. I don't know who that person is, but somebody else also want this particular movie. So that time he uses torrent to download the movie from my computer to his computer. So how it will happen? So movie will get uploaded from my laptop and it will get downloaded to his laptop. We use some terms called as seeding and other terms. Let us not go there. But here what happens is, as a user, I have a movie in, as a user, I have a movie in my laptop, and as another user, you want that movie. So peer to peer. Peer means friends or colleagues or people of the same what do I say? Same post. That is what peer means. So from my computer, movie will come to your computer. From your computer, it will go to some other's computer. By this way, the movie will spread for like it will spread throughout. Okay, so this is called as peer to peer. Okay, this is called as peer to peer technology. So there is some other technology where we have something called as client and server. So peer to peer, what happens? You both are at same level. Okay, you both are at same level. From his laptop, it will go to his laptop. That is called as peer to peer. But there is another technology. There is something called as client and server. There is something called as client, and then there is server. As a client, I will ask for some details and the server will provide that detail to me. Okay. For example, let us say that I want to watch a movie. I want to watch a movie in my mobile phone. So my mobile phone is a client. Okay. This hand is client. My mobile phone is a client. But is the movie stored in my laptop, in my mobile phone? Answer is no. It is stored in some other place called as server. I said, what is server? Server is a computer for a specific purpose. So from client, I will request with whom? I'm not requesting with my peer. I'm requesting with the server saying that please give me that movie, and the server will give that movie to me. So this is something called as client and server technology. Okay. So client server technology. So when we are talking about network architecture, now when we are talking about network architecture, we are simply talking about how two devices are connected to each other with the help of network. So one device is connected to another device with the help of a network. How is this network connected to each other? If it is, there are different types. One is peer to peer. One computer is connected to another computer in peer to peer technology, or it could connect with another computer with the help of client server technology. So there is one computer which demands data from another computer, and that computer will provide that data. Okay. So that is all about network architecture. So network architecture means how this network is designed. How this network is designed. Is it peer to peer or whether it is client server technology? This is it. What you need to know. Okay, you don't have to know much technical part about it. Now, architecture. Before you actually build a home, what you do is first the plan of the home. Okay, in the plan you will say, okay, this room is connected to another room like this. There is one floor, there is another floor, so there is a design. Okay, so in network architecture also, you do the layout of the network. How one computer is connected to another computer, whether it is connected as peer to peer or whether it is connected as client and server. Okay, so in that layout tool, you talk about what the different hardwares you're using, different softwares what you're using, different communication protocols, how one computer is talking to another computer, mode of transmission, whether it is whether it is wireless transmission or whether it is cable transmission. All these things are part of your network architecture. All right. So Divya is asking, torrent means like piracy, sharing, transferring. Yes, basically torrent people use for piracy purposes. Okay, so that is where I wanted to know how many students use it. No, don't worry. When I used to be a student, college student, even I used to use torrent. Okay, so there is no harm in that. Now, so we discussed again what is a client server. So client server means there are two computers. Basically, there are two computers. It's not always necessary that there has to be only two computers. There can be 10 computers also. There can be one computer also. Okay, but basically there are two computers. One computer is the client and another computer is the server. So client requests from the server and server gives the data to the client. All right. Next is, let us go to question number 11. So there are talking about Explain what do you mean by single tier architecture, two tier architecture, and three tier architecture. Okay. Now, some people pronounce it as tier, some people pronounce it as tier. Both are correct. Okay, so because here pronunciation doesn't matter because exam is writing. So as long as you write correct spelling, your pronunciation makes no difference. But we will call it as tier because it sounds good to me. Now, explain the item. What is single tier architecture? Now, single tier architecture means there is only one computer. There is only one computer. How it is single tier architecture then if it is only one computer? Let me give an example of your iPod, not iPad. Okay, I'm not talking about iPad, I'm talking about iPod. Earlier days Apple used to have something called something which was similar to Walkman. Earlier days Walkman used to be something like a small device within which there used to be a memory card and you have to have a earphone, then you just start it and you will play it. So uh, the player application is there in the iPod as well as the song is also there in the iPod. Okay, so you're not asking another computer, you're asking within your computer to give the data. So this is called a single tier architecture. So can you give example in a relevant condition? Let us not go back. Now let us say if I'm using let us say I have the movie in my computer and I also have the player also in my computer. Let us say I have a VLC media player, I also have a movie in my computer. This is a single tier architecture. Okay, the application is also there in my computer. What is application? That is a VLC media player, that is also there in my computer. Movie is also there in my computer. Something called as single tier architecture or single tier architecture. What is two tier architecture? Two tier architecture means there are two different layers, there are two different computers. Okay, example could be Tally. Let us say you're using Tally in your office. Okay, you're using Tally in your office. If you're not joined articleship, once you join your articleship, you will use it. So there is one laptop what you're using, and all the data are stored in another main server. Okay, all the data is stored in the main server. So whenever you open the Tally in your computer, there is no data in your computer. So what are you going to do? You are going to request it from the main server. So this becomes two tier architecture. So your computer is a client computer and the data server is the main server from where you're asking the data. So there is a client and then there is a server. So I hope you understood what is two tier architecture. There is two layers. There is a client layer and one is the server layer. Then is something called as three tier architecture. Now what is this three tier architecture? In all the online transaction, we have something called as three tier architecture. Two tier architecture usually we use when we are using in LAN, that is local area network, we use two tier architecture. But in all the online transaction, we use something called as three tier architecture. Now what is this three tier architecture? Let me give an example. Say you want to access your email, okay, so you open some computer. How are you going to access your email? First thing is you will go to a browser, you will open, let us say, Google Chrome. Okay, you will open that Google Chrome. Now that is called as client, your browser is the client. So in your computer what you see is your client. So that client will ask, put your email ID and password. You will put your email ID and password. Okay, let us say some xyz@gmail.com and you put your password. Then you click on login. When you click on login, whether what happens, all your data is there in another computer called as database server. All the data, all your mails what you have received, all the mails what you have sent, it is there in a database server. It is there in a database server. You will not get direct access to your database server. There will be some one more layer in between the client and the database server. There is another layer called as application layer. So what is the function of this application layer? Application layer sees, it is a function of the application layer to check whether your ID and passwords match. If it is a wrong password, then it will not show you the data, but instead it will say the input is incorrect, the password is incorrect, the ID is incorrect. All those things is taken care by the middle layer, that is called as application layer. So what is three-tier architecture? It is a presentation layer or a client layer. That is what as the user what you see. That is your browser. Then there is database layer. Database layer means your actual emails are there in your database, but between presentation layer and database layer there is one more layer, that is application layer. So that has lot of logic. So what is the logic? First logic is it will check whether ID and passwords match with each other. Then it will check a lot of other things. Once everything is proper, then it will allows you to access your database. So that is about three-tier architecture. Next, I'll answer those questions in a while, but let us. So I hope you have understood what is one-tier architecture, two-tier architecture, and three-tier architecture. This is little technical concept in this particular chapter. Okay. So one question is from Bachu Surendra Suraj, that is from a computer, and then there is a separate Bluetooth player. If I connect to both, then can it be called as two-tier? I'd say it is not a two-tier architecture, because what is happening is only the sound is played in one particular speaker. Okay, that is, if I understand it properly, what happens is your application is also there in the computer only, your songs are also there in the computer only. Only Bluetooth is just to play it loudly. Okay, so that is not a two-tier architecture. For it to happen two-tier, application should be in some other computer and the data should be in some other computer. Then I call it as tier. Okay, all right. So next is the question number 12. The question number 12, explain how and why the three-tier architecture is used in e-commerce. So I said in all the online transactions, we basically use three-tier architecture. Okay. Uh, okay, so Divya Tejasri question is, can Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, etc. call as three-tier architecture? Take it from me. All the online applications what you use is a three-tier architecture. Everything what you use is a three-tier architecture. Okay, all the online things. So that is what this question is. They are asking, explain how and why the three-tier architecture is used in e-commerce. Why do we use e-commerce? Presentation tier means what you actually see in the system. Next one is, what is application tier? That is between your presentation and between your database, something which checks the logic, whether ID password is correct, whether all the informations are correct. That is checked in your application tier. Then at the end you have something called as database tier. So these are the three tiers. Then they're asking, why are we using three-tier architecture? Okay, so the answer is three-tier architecture. First you have to define what is you have to first define what is a three-tier architecture. Remember, in examination, whenever they ask a question, first thing what you're supposed to do is first write a definition of that particular term. Then you have to write the answer to the question. So three-tier architecture is a software design pattern and well-established software architecture. It has three tiers: what is presentation tier, application tier, and data tier. Three-tier architecture is a client-server architecture in which the functional process like logic, data access, computer data storage, and user interface are developed and maintained as independent modules and separate platforms. The simple they are saying is, there are three different layers. There are three different tiers. There is presentation tier, then there is application tier, then there is database tier. So they are saying why it is three. The answer is simple. See, if they want to make some changes in the database tier, they want to make some changes in the database tier, they don't have to make any changes in the presentation tier nor in the application tier. They can independently make changes in the your database tier. Now let us say they want to make some changes in the presentation tier. They want to change how the website looks. So they don't have to make any changes in the application tier. They don't have to make any changes in the database tier. So once they divide it into presentation, application, database tier, they can make modification. They can make easily changes without impacting the other tiers, other layers. That is one of the basic reason why they have three different layers. Another reason is they cannot have two tier. That is a simple logical answer is they cannot have two tier. There has to be three tier, because every user has his user account and password. So what I have, you may not have. For example, let's say I have 10 items in my shopping cart. So if I want to access that, I have to put my ID and password. So this is only possible if I'm using three-tier architecture. Rest everything is pretty easier one. They are just explaining what presentation tier is, application tier is, database tier is. Just go and read it. So if you are an e-commerce, if you are an e-commerce company, now let us say furniture company. Okay, let's go back to the initial example. You are a furniture company. Now, what are the how your presentation tier will look like? Presentation tier means how your website will look like in the browser. I mean, application tier, what is the function? Application tier will decide whether a user can access your website or not by taking your ID and password. In the database tier, what are the details that will be there? Your entire digital library will be there in your database tier. That is, all the products, product description, pricing catalogs, everything will be there in the database tier. Okay. Now you tell me which tier is used. For example, let us say some coupon code what you're using a coupon code. Now there will be a place in every time you are checking out, you are making some payment, there will be a place. If you have promo code, enter here. If you have some coupon code, enter here. So if you're entering a coupon code, which tier will check it? Whether it is checked in the presentation tier or application tier, or whether it's the database tier. Which tier will check it? Presentation, application, or database? I want answer from you. I repeat the question. If you are entering a coupon code, if you are putting the coupon code, which with the help of which tier you can verify that is a proper coupon code or not? See, you enter that coupon code in the presentation tier. You enter it in the presentation tier. That coupon code is stored in database tier. It is stored in database tier. But whether that is proper or not, whether that is applicable or not, all these things will be checked by your application tier. So all the students who have replied as application tier, good answer. And all the people who said it is presentation tier and database tier, I'm saying you're using all the tiers. You're using both, all the presentation tier, application tier, database tier. But the application tier will check and tell whether this coupon code is valid or not. All right. Good work. Next question. It is already 1 hour, but we will take some more time. Okay, because we need to complete all the questions, but at the same time we should not hurry also. Okay. So next question is, what are the risk in e-commerce? What are the risk in e-commerce? Now, before we understand the risk in e-commerce, first let us talk about what are the risk in normal shops. Okay, let us say you have a shopping complex. You have a shopping complex, so customers can come and they can just go on seeing the product. If they like the product, they will put it in their basket, then they'll come and check out. So this is a normal shop what we have. What is the risk? The first risk what you can think of, what is a major risk, is shoplifting. Shoplifting, what are they going to do? Let us say somebody comes, picks one items, and secretly they will put it inside their pocket and they will walk out without paying. This is the risk. How are you going to control it? How are you going to control it? You can control it by putting CCTV cameras. You can have they have that some machine while checking out. If you don't pay and you directly walk out, there will be that machine which will make uh, some sound, all those things. So there is a risk of shoplifting means people taking your product without paying. And control that, you can have a CCTV cameras, you can have some machines which is put in place which will check that whether some products are taken out without actual payment. So this is in the traditional shops. So now first is first we are talking about what are the risk in e-commerce. First thing is we have to talk about what are the different risk in e-commerce. Can you think of what are the different risk in e-commerce? How e-commerce business are risky? The first thing is privacy is the biggest problem. Privacy and security. For example, let us say I am purchasing from your furniture website. I am purchasing from your furniture website. So whenever I access your website, first thing you will say, sir, can you please create a user ID and password? You have to have an account to purchase something. So I will say, okay, take my email ID, take my password. So you have details about my email ID, you have details about my password, you have details about my mobile number, you have address about my delivery address, where is my home address, all the details you have. Also, while making the payment, I will put my debit card number, CVV, expiry dates, all the details I'm going to give it to you. The question is, how are you keeping that data safe? Whether the data is really safe? There are thousands of examples where the data what is there in the seller got leaked in the public. Okay, so privacy and security is the biggest worry. So that is the first major risk. Next one is quality issues. Now what is this quality issues? This is something that we have all felt at some point or the other. Some if let us say I want to purchase some shirt, I'll go to Mintra, I'll go to Jabong, or I'll go to some website. Then I will say I want to purchase this particular item. The particular dress, they will have some model wearing that particular shirt. It will look very good. Some blue color shirt or some red color shirt. You say, okay, I want this shirt at any cost. You pay it, everything is done. When the goods reaches here, when you open the package, the red shirt is actually a pink shirt. Okay, it is not even a red shirt. The quality is pathetic. When you wear it, it looks like you're wearing some second product. So quality is one of the main issues. What seller shows in is the photo may not match the actual quality of the goods. That is a risk for the consumer, not for the seller. Next is delay in goods and hidden cost. Now, hidden cost means most of the times you may have felt that, whenever you're ordering some product from the website, initially they will say, product cost is only 500 rupees. Then when you're checking out, they will say delivery charges extra 80 rupees. So it is 580, all those things. So even that is a risk. And delay in goods. So you're ordering some goods, you're saying it will come in 4 days, it will not come in 4 days, it will take 14 days, and all those things. So all these are the risk compared to the regular stores. In normal shops, there was no risk of delay, there was no risk of hidden cost, everything was open. He would say this product would cost 500, you pay 500 rupees, done. And it was instant delivery, you paid, you got the goods. But in online transaction, it is the risk. The next risk is, it is not basically a risk, but they're saying it needs internet. Always you need to have internet if you want to access stores. So if you don't have internet, you cannot access e-commerce transactions. And lack of personal touch. Lack of personal touch in the sense, let us say you want to purchase some shoe. Okay, normally in the normal shops, you can go there, you can wear that shoe, you can walk, feel how the shoe feels like, and the shopkeeper also will explain about all the qualities and the features of the shoes, which you miss in the e-commerce transaction. So normally nobody from the other end will talk to you. Okay, so next one is security and credit card issues. So this point we also discuss when we are talking about privacy. Okay, privacy means individual details. And when I'm talking about credit card issues, I'm talking about the security of the card what we are using there. Next is infrastructure. Now this is very funny thing. Now I said e-commerce is all about technology. E-commerce is all about technology. But no matter how good the technology is, you also have to have a better infrastructure. For example, I come from a very remote place, a village. So I have 4G internet connection there. As far as technology is concerned, it is good. So I can open Flipkart and I can choose some mobile phone which I want. But the moment I put my delivery address, they will say this particular mobile phone cannot be delivered to your address. That is because technology infrastructure is good, but basic infrastructure, that is road, railways, that is not good. Okay, so as long as they don't work on the road properly, they don't make roads properly, your e-commerce will always fail. Okay, the next one is problem of anonymity. That is, there is a need to identify and authenticate users in the virtual global market where anyone can sell or buy from anyone, anything from anywhere. So anonymity is the problem. For example, there are some websites which sell items. Okay, which sell items, and you cannot find who the seller is. So you purchase the item. That is, I have experienced this in shop clothes. So I purchased some item and I wanted to return the item, and I could not even trace my seller. Okay, so this is the problem with e-commerce. But in the traditional commerce, you know from which shop you purchase. So that day you don't like the product, you can go and always tell this product is not correct. But in e-commerce, sometimes what happens is you receive counterfeit products. You order some branded items. Let us say you order a Ray-Ban glass, but when you receive it, you don't actually receive a Ray-Ban glass. It is some 100 rupees glass what you receive, but you want to return back to him, you can't track him. Okay, and next one is repudiation of contract, that is cancellation. So today, let us say you made some purchase order, and they said they will deliver the order to you. You have also made the payment to them. That is, say you want to give some birthday gift to one of your friend, and his birthday is after 4 days. So today you place the order for that particular item. They said they will deliver within 4 days, and after 3 days you will receive a message saying that the order is cancelled. So this is a risk because the next day is the birthday, but you don't have the goods with you. So all these are the risk in the e-commerce transactions. So this is very basic points. Okay, so that is question number 13. Is there any question? A database means the information stored in the system which can be seen, or information which is hidden in the system. See, database basically means the data what is there in the system. What you can see is in the presentation tier. Okay, so let us say that you want to watch a movie in Netflix. You open the Netflix, what you see is the presentation tier. What you see is the presentation tier. Then you say you want to watch some movie. Okay, you type the name of that movie. Okay, now let us say again Avengers. So the moment you type Avengers, your application tier will request that movie from the database tier, and application tier will push it to the presentation tier, and in the presentation tier in a mobile screen you can see that movie. So database is a place where all the data is dumped, but it is not always it is not everything that you can see. You cannot see everything what is there in the database tier. Next question is, sir, how to make notes for EIS? The notes is already given. Okay, these are the notes what I'm discussing. It's already there. Should be there in the description box. And the notes is available in the okay. Okay, I mean our own notes. You want, if you want to write your own notes, then while I'm explaining, you can quickly write down, or maybe after a while you can replay the video and you can make your own notes. Okay. So next question is question number 14. The question is, list the control objectives in e-commerce. Now, most of the times we don't even understand what is this question. I'll ask again. Try to think what does this question actually mean. The question is, list the control objectives in e-commerce. Well, what do you mean by control objective? Now, I'll go back to that example where I said there is a store. What is the risk for the store? If you have a shopping mall and customers are walking in and they're walking out, what is the risk? Said risk is about shoplifting. Somebody can put some item and they can walk out of your store. This is the risk. So what is the control? I said control is having a CCTV camera or putting some machines which will check that. We will ensure that the items are not taken out without the payment being made. So this is the control. So now, as an auditor, when you go to that particular store, you see that there is no CCTV cameras which are put. You see that there is no separate machines which are put, which will check whether some item is taken out without proper billing. And you go and tell the shop owner saying that, look, your shop does not have a CCTV, your shop does not have some machines, your shop does not have a security guard, your shop does not have anything. So with this, you cannot prevent shoplifters. So the shop owner will ask, why should I put controls? Why should I put CCTV camera? Why should I have security guard? So then you will explain why you should have all these things. So this is called as control objectives. What are the objectives of having the controls put in place? What is the need of control? Why control is necessary? So that is called as control objectives. Okay, so that is the question. So here there are 9 control objectives what we have. Let's quickly go through the same thing. Okay. So first is to recognize the significance of information as critical asset to the entity. So information is very, very critical asset to the entity. Information, I said, if you're a furniture seller, what is the information? Information about the users, their address, their mobile number, email ID, their bank account details. All these things are the information which as a consumer, I have given it to you. Now, it is your responsibility to protect my information. If you don't protect it, I will not trust you henceforth. Okay. Then, if I'm talking about Netflix, what is the information they have? The information, all the movies they have is an asset to them. These are the critical assets. Now, let us say all the movies which are there in Netflix, if it is there in YouTube, will you simply pay for Netflix? You will watch it you will watch it in YouTube for free. So, for the company, it is very necessary that they need to take proper care of their digital assets. They need to take care of their information. They will only take care of it. No, they need to take care of their digital information. Okay, so they will take care only if they know that this data is very critical to them. Okay, so this is one of the control objective. Why they need control? Because if they lose control over the movies, it will be available in YouTube. Nobody will again pay for Netflix. So first thing is to recognize the significance of information, to understand that these movies are important to us, these assets are important to us. Only when the shop owner knows that the assets are important to him, the items are important to him, then they will implement the control. Next is to prevent, I'll just quickly go through the point, that is to prevent loss from incorrect decision making. Next one is to recognize the criticality and value of all the IT resources, hardware, softwares, and personnel. Now, let us talk about a bank. Okay, let us talk about banks. Now, banks has so many computers, they use so many softwares. So they use all these different hardwares and softwares. Now, for them to have a proper control, is they need to understand what is the significance of these hardwares and softwares. Only then they will implement the controls. to prevent cost of data loss. So if data is lost, again as a consumer, they may file a complaint against me, or I may lose the lose the consumer. To avoid all these things, I need to put control in place to avoid computer abuse and related cost. Then there is to maintain privacy, to save data assets, to ensure system effectiveness, and to ensure system efficiency. Very simple points. You just have to reproduce these 8 to 9 points in your examination. Okay, because time is running out, so I want to complete next one 4 to 5 questions quickly. Okay, uh, now let us go to question number 15. But before that, let's take some questions, sir. Where is the question? So what's the difference between iPad and iPod? Simple. See, iPad is these days what we have. This is iPad. So iPad is a smaller version of some other version of tablet. So iPad is by Apple. They call it as I. If tablet by Apple is iPad, and by other companies it is called as tablet. iPod is the small Walkman, small radio kind of things what you used to have back then. Now they've stopped making iPods. Uh, then so how to score good marks in EISM? Not a part of this particular class, because the class will be everywhere. Then somebody is like concept of grid computing. Thrice you put. I understand that this is a very important one, but grid computing probably in the next class I'll be taking. So first part it won't come grid computing, but it will come. So will you explain chapter number 3? Definitely yes. That is the most important chapter. I'll explain that as well. Okay. So now let's go to question number 15. To manage risk in e-commerce environment, control should be implemented by all the parties. Explain this statement. Now, whenever I'm talking about e-commerce business, there are a lot of people involved. Who are those? There is user, that is customer. Then there is seller. Then there is people who are delivering goods to you. There is logistic company. There is somebody who is providing technology provider. So there are a lot of people who are involved. So for a successful transaction, everybody should be involved. Everybody should do their duty properly. Only then the transaction will be successful. Or else what may happen? Let us say, as a user I'm willing to purchase, as a seller you're willing to sell, but your website is not proper. Your technology provider is not providing service to you properly. So every time I open the website, it comes as, website is under maintenance. So as a buyer, I'm not happy. As a seller, you're not happy. So for a smooth e-commerce transaction, there has to be all the different players, all the different participants in the e-commerce should do their duties properly. So first one is, so they're talking about to manage risk in e-business environment, control should be implemented by all the parties. So as a user, you need to have a control. As a seller, I need to have a control. As a technology provider, he has to have a control. Now, as a user, how can you have a control? Simple example. Now, Facebook. Okay, now let us say you're using Facebook. Now you go to a cyber cafe, you go to a cyber, then you put your ID, you put your password, and you come out. You don't log out. So what happens? Your session is active there. So any other person can come and he can post something what he wants. That is a risk. So as a user, you need to take care. Can Facebook understand who is posting? They will not understand. So as a user, you need to take care. But every time you are leaving the system, you need to log out from the session. So that is the first thing. Now let us say you're using Netflix and you have your ID and password. You should not share it with everybody. So if everybody is watching it, then you will not get the service what you want. So as a user, you should not share your password. You should not share your ID. So as a user, you need to take some measures. You need to take some controls. That is from a user point of view. As a seller, what are the controls I need to take? The first thing is I need to have a proper product catalogs. I need to show the proper products. I need to show proper pricing. I need to show proper discounts to you. All the information about the product, I need to give it to you. I should never give you the wrong information. That is a responsibility of the seller. Okay. As a buyer, you also have to have some measures. As a seller, I also have to have some measures. Next one is from a government point of view. So how government can ensure, that is, first one is government should collect tax from all the transactions that they're doing anyways. Okay, so the point is government across the world and in India have few critical concerns in the electronic transactions. First one is tax accounting. That is, for every transaction government should collect tax. Only then government will earn income. With that income only they'll be able to spend on us. Then government should ensure that all the products which are sold are legal. Now let us say that as a website, can I start a website in which I sell, let us say, some gun or drugs? Cannot. So whose responsibility is to ensure that drugs are not sold? It is the responsibility of the government. So government also should put proper controls. Have they put? Yes. About this we will study later when we are talking about rules and regulations. Next one is network service providers. I said, let us say that as a buyer I want to purchase, as a seller you want to sell, but there is no network only. Okay, let us say I don't have proper mobile network, or you don't have a proper internet connections, so this transaction will not happen. So as a network service provider also, they also should provide proper network. Then technology service providers, that is somebody who built your website, somebody who built your application, somebody who is maintaining your database. Everybody should provide service promptly. Next is logistic service providers, very important in e-commerce transaction. That is, they need to deliver the goods properly. If they say within 4 days, then the goods has to come to you within 4 days. Then payment gateways, again a very big responsibility. Normally what happens, did it happen to you that sometimes you made a payment but money got deducted from your account, but you did not get the goods or you did not get the service, and when you contacted the service provider they said we did not receive the payment. All these things will happen because of some errors happening in the payment gateways. So these are the different players in a e-commerce business, and everybody should perform their duties properly to ensure a smooth e-commerce transaction. Okay, so there is a question that is, so what is the difference between e-commerce and m-commerce? We discussed somewhere back, so you could go back and you could check at the somewhere at the beginning of the video. That is what is the difference between e-commerce and m-commerce. Next is, please give intimation of having this live chat classes at least one day before having the class with topic intimation also. Yes, we will do that. Normally it's put in the community tab as well, so you need to subscribe for this channel, or you need to download OneFin application where they will be putting proper updates. So I guess we have completed 15 questions. We have much more questions to come, but I guess it is enough for today. So we have completed good 15 questions. So what I want you to do is, quickly after watching this session, I want you to go through each and every question from the notes, and I want you to write down and practice, not just read down and memorize. So if you have any questions, you can quickly leave now. But yeah, in the next class, I will cover rest of the portions. So somebody is asking for IT old syllabus, kind of difficult. I don't want to promise then not deliver. It is somewhere slightly difficult. You can watch these classes and you need to, you need to use what is relevant for you. So I hope that's it for today, and we will continue in the next class. So when the next class is going to be, we will quickly post it. Won't be tomorrow. We will post an application. So download the application. In that you will get it, and also subscribe to the channel so that you will get proper notifications. So sir, please explain data integrity and control objectives. We will do that. We will do that. Now, what is data integrity and other things also, we will do that. All right. So we will meet in the next class. All right. Chalo. Bye.